1 sec. Okay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the live stream tonight. I'm Brandon Duke, a member of the UCA Board. The Unitarian Christian Alliance is live to you tonight with 5 out of our 6 board members. With me here, I have Dr. Dale Tuggy, who's chairman of the board. We have Pastor Sean Finnegan. We have podcast host extraordinaire Mark Kane, also board member of the UCA, and our treasurer, Leah Anderson. Our vice chair, Keegan Chandler, couldn't make it. We wish him the best with what he's got going tonight. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We wanted to give everyone an update on what's going on with the UCA. We've just finished a fundraising drive. We wanted to let you know what happened with that. And we also want to let you know about some events that are upcoming here in 25 and let you know what's on tap for 26 as well. So thank you for joining. We're planning to do some Q&A at the end of the discussion too. So please feel free to in the comments, throw any questions that you'd like to hear somebody from the board respond to. This is a first for us, so we're excited to have an opportunity to interact with everybody and give some access to the board. Sometimes we get referred to as the board, and not everybody even knows who that is. So we're happy to have an opportunity to reach out and talk to everybody and get some feedback today too. So I thought maybe for people that aren't really familiar with the UCA, I thought maybe Dr. Tuggy, you could give people an idea what the UCA is and what our mission is. What are we all about?
Well, I think we were going to have Mark take that part.
You're right. My fault.
I don't
force
want
the habit to go to the
limelight.
chair. Yeah, force the habit to go to the chair. Hey,
right.
Mark, do you mind helping people understand about the UCA?
Yeah, the UCA is a very focused, single interest that serves two purposes to promote Unitarian theology, and that is summarized succinctly as our God is one and Jesus human Messiah. We do that through paper presented conferences, that through online video, we do that through a podcast, and through the promoting of other people's amazing resources in the work that they do. This is meant to be a resource for everyone who's looking to understand theology well, maybe to be prepared for questions that they might get one day, and we do that as a major focus of our effort. The other thing that we do is we help connect Unitarian Christians, and by connecting, it means putting together when maybe isolated. A lot of the people in the Unitarian community are isolated and far from fellow. So we created a self-serve directory. You go to the website, unitarianchristianalliance.org, and you sign up, become a member, zip code in, and it puts a pin on a map. And that lot represents in your area. It's you. And then others in the area can look and say, hey, I actually have somebody nearby. Because as most Unitarian Christians know, once you reject unity, you get kicked out of many organizations. It can be very troubling. You can get very isolated that way. So our directory tool is a means to help find in your area that you can connect with, whether it's just having coffee once a month, or maybe you'll find a small fellowship that you can join. So those are the two main methods. The other way that we connect people is by having conferences. And we've now had several conferences in the United States, and we're about our second one in the UK. And we're looking forward to next year, second conference in the Southern Hemisphere, which we'll be talking about more shortly.
Fantastic. So, and by the way, folks, if we're having a little bit of technical difficulty, I think Mark might have been cutting out a little bit there. Thanks for hanging with us while we get used to using this format. Thanks, Mark, for letting people know. And if anybody didn't hear that because it broke up a bit, you can go to unitarianchristianalliance.org and read all about it. There are full mission statements out there, along with what Mark was talking about. Yeah, Dr. Tuggy.
Yeah, that was all great. I know there were a few technical hiccups there. I just wanted to add that we're not a church or a denomination, and so we're not in competition with yours. We are trying to direct people towards your church or fellowship, Bible study, online fellowship, Christadelphia and Ecclesia. And so at our conferences, consequently, aren't a typical Christian conference. There's not worship and preaching exactly. They're really educational conferences, and again, for networking, helping to build community and providing a stage on which the different streams of Unitarian Christians can interact. Even if they wouldn't fellowship in church, they can still encourage each other, know about each other, and so on.
Yeah, thanks, Dale. I appreciate that addition. Well, let's get right to, if we can, talking about the fundraising drive that just ended. And who better for that than our treasurer, Leah? Leah, can you let folks know what we've been up to and how we did?
Sure. Yeah, so I just wanted to let you know that we are so thankful for all of your generous contributions towards our event fundraising drive for the conferences coming up. And so many of you donated a significant amount, and we are just really grateful to you. So we wanted to let you know that the total donations with the $10,000 match from April 9th, 2025 through June 15th, 2025 equaled $37,160.84. So we actually reached 2 of our 3 goals, and we're just really thankful for that, very proud of that. And we just really appreciate all of you just putting in your efforts to help us get there.
Yeah, this was a first for us to do a drive like this, and we're really grateful to everyone who participated, who donated, who helped get the word out. Thank you to everyone for that. We had identified 3 goals for 3 events, and the UK conference, which is about to happen in about a month, which we'll be talking about shortly. We wanted to have the funds to do an event in Australia next year, and the funding that we receive means we can do both of those. And we're working on how to make the last part happen, probably in 26, and we can talk more about that later as well. So regarding events that are coming up here this year, Dale, would you be willing to kind of talk people through what's happening and how they might be able to get involved and attend an event?
Absolutely. So yeah, coming right up, the 24th to 27th of July, we have our second ever UK International Conference. This has been organized by an amazing committee of all British people and 1 German, I think. Interesting mix of Christadelphians and other biblical Unitarians. Last year, it was amazing. It's an amazing mix of people. It's really, the London area is a wonderful place to visit, especially for Americans. But we also had good attendance from German speakers from Germany, Austria, and various places. So we're doing that again. We have an amazing lineup of speakers. I will be there uncelebrating the 1700th anniversary of the Nicene Creed and the Nicaea Council, trying to, put a wet blanket on all those celebrations. We have Pastor Sean Finnegan, Dr. Justin Smith, Dr. Andrew Perryman from the London School of Theology. We had him last year. He's a very interesting and original, independent-minded scholar. Dr. Jerry Weirwill, Dan Weatherall from the Bible Feed podcast, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, and Dr. Thomas Gaston, the author of the amazing monograph on dynamic monarchians. Of course, there's also workshops like we usually have, and even some things for the kids that they're calling Kids Club. So just go to our main site, UnitarianChristianAlliance.org, click on events. That'll take you to the event organizers page where you can register. It's at the Denham Grove Hotel, which is a very nice venue. And they also have day tickets for people who just want to pop in a day or two that they can make. So yeah, definitely check that out. That's not something you're going to want to miss if you're in the UK or even in Western Europe. The next thing we have coming up, not very long after that, is Converge. So this is not a UCA event. This is a broad sort of coalition of biblical Unitarians that want to worship and have preaching and sort of fellowship. It's more like a typical Christian festival, I would say. The first one was back in 2019. and it was a smashing success. Again, a very interesting mix of people. We had a bunch of wonderful Canadians come down for it. And the UCA, again, it's not our event, but we are going to, a few of us, be there and just sort of add a little bit of UCA type of content for the people that want that. You know, a lot of people will be there really more for the fellowship, but we know there's always some nerds out there that have to think and dig into biblical, theological, historical issues. So we want to add a little element of that. So yeah, you can go to convergefest.com and you can see what that is if you want to see the schedule. And that's at Hiram College, which is in the Cleveland, Ohio area. Very nice, kind of central area if you're in the upper eastern part of the US or the province of Ontario in Canada. The third thing that we have to talk about, we're incredibly excited about. This is really a new thing for us. So just as in the UK, we have a very independent, hardworking, enthusiastic, committed committee, an organizing committee for the UK conference. When we went to New Zealand last year, there were a bunch of Australians there. And right there on the spot, they basically formed a committee. And they have been working on trying to get us to come to Australia. And thanks to your generous support in the fundraiser, this is what we're now able to say yes to. And we're now publicly announcing this for the first time. So they figured that if they're going to get, I believe it's going to be Sean Finnegan and me and Mark Kane. And then we'll have this obviously supplemented with some speakers from Australia. But they figured if we're going to have these Yankees go that far, we might as well get some good work out of them while they're over here. So there's going to be a conference hosted by an ecclesia in Melbourne, which will start on March 20th of 2026. So this is in March, leading up to kind of right before Easter, and that's not early spring in Australia. That's like early fall. And so, yeah, we're really excited about doing, I believe it's going to be about a 1.5 day long conference in Melbourne. We're also working on a debate, which is a very exciting thing with me and someone, but we can't quite announce that yet. But we're hopeful that there will be a debate there in Melbourne. Then the next weekend, March 27th to 29th, the committee has managed to get a really nice, by all accounts, camp / retreat venue, which is just outside of Sydney. And so we're going to have a full-on conference there. Apparently the cost is good. The venue is beautiful. A bunch of people that are on the committee have been there and really love it. So we're looking forward to that. And there might be something or other in between those two things, but basically we're doing 2 conferences in Australia in March of 2026. So keep an eye on the UCA main website in the next couple of months. I would expect that registration hopefully would open within the next several months as the committee is able to set that up. Also, I want to pass it over to Mark now because he was going to mention some other events that have been listed on the UCA events page.
Yes, thank you. There's a UCA events page that you can submit your events if you are creating events that are you're welcoming folks who might come in from the other churches or from other areas or isolated people. If that's the kind of event that you have and you want to broadly announce that or put it out there, we do have a page on our website under the events list called, what is it called? Events, upcoming events. That's what it is. And there's a couple things on there I wanted to just mention since they're coming up. In July, there's an event called Fuel, which is at a college campus, and it's for young adults, high school students. It's a really great event put on by the Church of God General Conference. And in the last several years, there have been many UCA people who've just popped in and really enjoyed that, because this might be, if you have kids in high school and they've not been able to go anywhere, this is one of those options that they could do. That's Fuel in Indiana in July. You can see that on the events page, July 13th through 18th. And also, we have a Women of Truth conference in Oregon, Illinois, August 21 through 23. That's also put on by the Church of God General Conference, and it's women getting together for encouragement and fellowship and being women of truth. So those are the two that we have. And if you have an event coming up that you want to get listed there, there's instructions on the website to do that.
Excellent. And just to make sure people understand, that's at unitarianchristianalliance.org. And the events tab is up at the top in the menu. You can go there and look for instructions how to reach out. We really want to help promote Unitarian events. And if you're going to have an event that would be appropriate for a broader Unitarian audience, please do reach out, and we'll do the very best we can to try and promote it, make sure people are aware of it. I know there's one other thing that I'd like for us to talk about as far as future planning, and that is we've been excited at the idea of holding an American event in the United States out west, because all the United States events have been either in the Midwest or in the Mid-South. We're excited to try and get out west. That was actually our third objective in our fundraising, which we didn't quite make for this year, but we hope to do that soon. I was wondering if maybe Sean, would you have any interest in talking to people about what we're thinking there, and maybe adding to some of that planning? I know we've been looking for a venue. We might have some place that would work, but it sounds like we're going to maybe need people's help to raise funds for that for next year potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Our goal is to have an event, especially in the United States, every year. And this is just the sort of problem that is good to have, is that we have invitations in other countries to have events there, as well as we see the UCA spreading. And as a result of just like the necessity of fundraising and just how much we can do, we're just a little bit more limited than we'd like to be, but we're still able to do a lot due to the generosity of those who have given. So I do certainly appreciate that. I know we all do. Our plan this year was to have an event in Arizona, but it looks like that's not going to happen because of just the necessities of, the situation with us and our fundraising. But we do still want to go out west. I can't say for sure that will be Arizona next year, but I'd love to see that happen. And I've been in communication with the church out there in the Phoenix area, and would love to see that happen. Another church we've been in contact with is in California. I think Leah, is that near LA, or where was that? Yeah, she's shaking her head. I think you're muted, Leah. But so like the LA area there. And so our goal is really just to move the conference around so that people have opportunities to attend, because the number one thing that people say when we ask them, oh, why couldn't you make it this year? And it's distance. And so a lot of people will fly, but even flying East Coast to West Coast in the United States is so far away that it can be cost prohibitive for that as well. So we are certainly hoping that that'll work out for next year. I don't want to make any promises at this point. I think we learned our lesson on that one, but or at least I learned my lesson. I'll speak for myself. Lord willing, in October 2026, we'll be out west and be able to enjoy the fellowship with the brothers and sisters out in that direction. And then who knows after that where it'll be. But our goal is to put out this high quality content at these events on our YouTube channel. So even if you can't make the event, you can at least benefit from the content. And but if you can make the event, it's just the connections you can make, the fellowship you can have is really sensational. So I definitely recommend it.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate that. Yeah, folks, we want you to know if you were looking forward to an event out there in the fall this year, we were looking forward to that too. we'll see what 2026 holds. I'd like to turn, if I could, to Dr. Tuggy, and I know there's a project that you and I have been talking about and kind of brainstorming on, and thought maybe you could maybe tell some people about it, as it's the kind of thing where we'll need volunteers. We may need to do some fundraising for potentially, but I didn't know if you wanted to talk about some of this content we were talking about making for the 1700th anniversary of Nicaea, and maybe be able to talk about that a little.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this ties into what we were just talking about. The conferences, it's hard to quantify how important that encouragement can be to people. And also people meet, and sometimes they travel across the country and realize they're like an hour away from each other, and weird things like that. So at our last US conference in Arkansas, we met up with someone who has expertise in making video and film. And so there are plans in the works to make a documentary. We'd like to get out something if we can this year, because it's the 1700th anniversary of the Council and Creed at Nicaea in 325. And we think this is a real opportunity to jump into that wider conversation. Of course, Catholics and Orthodox think this is a landmark event, this council at Nicaea. They call it the First Ecumenical Council. What's really kind of strange is that a lot of supposedly Bible-oriented Baptists and other evangelicals are jumping in and saying, "Oh yes, this is wonderful. The Nicene Creed is wonderful. We should all recite it in churches." And yeah, this we think this runs counter to our kind of reforming cause and trying to get people to go back to the New Testament. Encouraging them to go back to 325 and stop there is not helpful. So between us, even the people I mentioned speaking at the UK, like Tom Gaston and Sean Finnegan, for instance, there's a lot of knowledge about church history there. And so we're going to try to take advantage of that and make a short documentary that addresses this supposedly all-important Nicene Creed and Council.
Thanks, Till. For people that aren't aware, there's a ton of content on the UCA YouTube channel, including lots of content that addresses the history, the development of the Trinity, over the centuries. So if you're interested, please check that out. Just go to YouTube and Google Unitarian Christian Alliance or search Unitarian Christian Alliance, and you can find the channel. Please feel free to subscribe. If you're already watching the channel, please help us by sharing it. It helps us spread the message. It's the best thing that people could possibly do to help the cause. That's easy is share that content.
And Brandon, this is one of the unique things that we're doing. If you just look at our YouTube channel, we have little 3-minute long cartoony videos for the masses. Then we also have these lectures, and we think it's important to attack both ends of it, because the masses are massive and they need, a lot of times they're just asking, what is Unitarian Christianity? Is that the same as Unitarian Universalism? And, basic questions like that. But at the same time, the small minority of people that, went to seminary, have graduate education, they're really influencing people, and often in a not very good way. And so we're trying to provide at the scholarly level some pushback for that, right? A lot of times people are convinced into becoming Catholic or Orthodox, for instance, by people who are experts in church history. And people like Sean and I think, well, yeah, but if you look farther, don't stop in the 4th century or the 3rd century. If you really get deep into it, no, this supports the restorationist perspective. And so, yeah, this documentary is kind of attacking both. I think it's something that's supposed to be understandable by the ordinary person, but also addressing some of the concerns of the more scholarly crowd.
This is such an opportunity too, at the the what is it, 1700-year anniversary of this tree. I like to look at Nicaea as a tree and to judge it by its fruit, like Jesus taught us. And the fruit of this tree is divisiveness, mutual excommunication. There have been so many people hurt by not only this doctrine, but then the other doctrines that required further clarification as a necessary follow-up to declaring the Son to be God in the same sense that the Father is. And just looking at the history of it, it is really a black eye on the body of Christ. And what sells better than a juicy criticism of some sort of I wouldn't call it a conspiracy or a cover-up, because the data is there for everyone to read. It's not hidden. It's just not well known. So I think just bringing that out would be helpful.
Something like a cover-up. It's not lying, but there's a simplified false narrative that goes back to that thug Athanasius, who's a saint in many people's eyes, and the way he told the story, where he's the hero of it, that is still taught, unfortunately, in seminaries and textbooks. And it's not true. Historians have left it far behind, as I'll show in my presentation coming up. But yeah, there's truth is very helpful in this.
Yeah.
And in addition to division and persecution that Sean mentioned, I would just say that the Nicene Creed began in confusion, and today it is just a profound, unending source of confusion. They didn't clarify anything. They made everything harder to understand, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I remember sitting in my church history class at seminary, and it was 4th century day. In the class, he was going through all 20 centuries in one semester, which is just an absurd feat. But so, each little section of church history was covered very briefly. And I just remember him being so visibly uncomfortable. He just his shoulders, the way he held his head, everything was just so uncomfortable, because he was my professor was kind of like the conservative Lutheran denomination. You could just see that he's just like, oh man, I have to talk about the 4th century. This is such a bummer. And it's like just the exact opposite of like so many of these evangelicals now, where they're like, oh yeah, that's really where truth triumphed over heresy. He wasn't like that at all. He was like, oh man, it was a real mess. And, just kind of apologized his way through it. And it's like, well, I think they're probably still right, but not because of their method, certainly. So, and this is not well known. Not at all. People think of it as inevitable. You see people write, they say, oh, well, Justin Martyr, who's 100 years or 200 years before, 150 years before, he was gesturing at the Trinity. He really believed in it in his heart. He just didn't yet have the language for it. It's like, come on. I don't think that's at all what is going on here. So I look forward to this. It'd be a really great viral video, hopefully, to be able for people to share and really get people to ask that question, because that's really the first thing we need somebody to do is ask the question: are there any problems with the Trinity? Is it really biblical? Is the history really as clean as I've been led to believe? And as soon as they type any of that in, I don't care if they type it into AI, type it into a search engine, ask YouTube, whatever, they're going to find UCA stuff and other biblical Unitarian stuff, because we're out there and, we're findable. So that is an exciting prospect.
Yeah. The movement's really growing. I remember when I was first invited to participate in the board, whatever it is, 5 years ago or something, you'd go search and there was information. You could find content on the internet, but I'm really proud of the work that the UCA's done and work that other Unitarians have done in the intervening years, to make sure that when someone does go looking, there's content, everything from, like Dale says, our little 2-minute explainer videos all the way up to, college level presentations at our conferences, exposing people to the history and the theology and the difficulties that the history has bequeathed us with. I want to remind the audience, if you have a question that you'd like to ask one of the folks here on the live stream, please feel free to drop that in there. I think we'll have some time to take some questions if anyone wants to leave one. I also want to make sure we let people know if you'd like to contribute either financially or by volunteering to this documentary idea. You can go to UnitarianChristianAlliance.org, and there's a specific fund for marketing and advertising that you can donate to, and we use those funds to create content and help it find eyeballs out on the web. So please feel free to or we'd appreciate your help any way you can. If you'd like to volunteer, you can simply just email us at media@UnitarianChristianAlliance.org. That's media@UnitarianChristianAlliance.org. And we need help. We need lots of hands. And whether it be with video editing, or if you have talents in social media management, or we could use somebody to help us run a swag shop so people can buy UCA t-shirts and mugs, or if you have other ways that you can think of that you'd like to help, we would sure appreciate it. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can also go to the UCA Facebook group. It's a great place to connect with other UCA members. It's where a lot of the planning happens as we all talk to each other and we share what's going on. It's a kind of a nexus for all kinds of Unitarians to figure out how to work together.
We should also point it out, it's less of a dumpster fire than it used to be. So if you join
Only simmering.
UCA on Facebook years ago, and you're like, man, this place is too spicy for me. Hey, maybe it's time to try it again. Maybe it's time to just come on back and be like, hey, well, it's not so bad, because these things do take time to kind of self-regulate. And one of the things that Brandon Duke does is the really difficult people that really do like to cause problems they're all kicked out, so they're not even in there anymore. And so come on back if you're not in there, just to keep tabs on things. Something else just to mention on social media, Brandon, is we've got so much video content, really top-notch video content, stuff that we've put together from our conferences over the years. We've got playlists for all of that on YouTube. But here's the problem. So many people today, they just watch short vertical videos of, 15 seconds to a minute long. If you can get them to give you attention for a whole minute. And so one of the projects that Brandon and I are interested in facilitating is getting a lot of that content that's already there to just pull shorts out from it. And we kind of know how to do it, and we have access to the right software and everything. It's just we have limited time, and just a helping hand. If you're a technology person, and especially if you know about shorts and social media and stuff, boy, we sure could use the help. So just to throw that out there too.
Yep, much appreciated, Sean. I remember when I first started getting involved in this, talking to Sean and saying, hey, is it okay if we do this or that? And he's like, Brandon, this is the Wild West. How are you going to get the message out if you're constantly checking for approval? No, we want to encourage everybody to get involved. It's so exciting to see so many new content creators out there. If you are a Unitarian content creator, we want to help promote you in your content. So reach out to us through any of those means we've just been talking about. And if you'd like to help participate in the UCA's social media efforts themselves, we really need the help. We're a full volunteer board, and we're grateful for all the volunteers we've had to help make the conferences happen, and many other things where people help. But the message is, sorry, go
ahead. We got a question in. Do you want to finish your thought, Brandon, first?
Let's hear the question. Right. Sounds great.
So here's the question. Which of the UCA board will be at Converge? So a few of us I don't believe Brother Keegan is Brother Keegan
I
Chandler
don't
going to
think
be there?
I don't think Dr. Chandler is going to be there this year. Unfortunately, maybe next year. But I think 5 out of the 6 of us, maybe.
Yep. So, yep, I'm planning to be there too. Another question for us: where is Bill from the One God podcast?
Hey,
Somebody
Bill,
wanna
where are
answer
you?
that?
Bill is in
Next-
Tennessee. I go to church with him, and he is well, and he's making good content and spending time with family this summer. He's great, and I hope we have him at our future conferences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be at Converge as well. He was at the first one. I've heard him promoting it on the One God Report podcast. So
I think
if you'd like to meet Bill, come to Converge and get your opportunity to talk to him. He's a great guy. If you don't know what we're talking about, the One God Report podcast is it's produced by Bill Schlegel, who is a former seminary professor from the Holy Land, an expert in biblical what's
Geography?
the word? Geography. Thank
Geography,
you, everyone.
yeah. He's
Yeah,
actually doing a
Atlas.
Hebrew language podcast now, believe it or not, with a friend.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name. I apologize.
I can't pronounce the name, so
It may have the letter in it. I'm not sure.
Don't be hating on Het.
Never.
So-
I want to say one more thing about content creation. We're not ready to announce a couple of things yet, but we're working on a couple of things. We want to do better in platforming other Unitarian Christians who are making good content that's helping the movement spread and go forward. And we also are aware that we are not spring chickens. And so we want to get more young people involved, and we're actually going to be asking for your help in helping us keep a tab on all the things that are going on TikTok, Instagram, and so on. So look out for that in the Facebook group.
Yeah. In case you can't tell from just looking at us, all these gray hairs are not naturally inclined towards making viral short content for TikTok. So we're trying, folks. We're trying to catch up and learn. Heck, we're not even used to doing live streams like this. So thanks for being patient with us as we figure out these different mediums. And again, as you see, there's gaps in what we're doing. We need people to help fill those gaps, and we just do. We want to empower others that can extend the influence of the Unitarian movement further, because we just really believe that that Christianity needs this. Like, if we're wrong, we're just nuts, right? If we're correct about what the true theology of the New Testament is, then the whole world needs it, and it's daunting to think that how big the mission is, and we truly do believe that it needs to be done. And so from those of us sitting here in our living rooms doing the best we can, we're asked that everybody that's out there that's listening, we just want to be co-workers with you, and that's why the UCA exists. I remember way back in the beginning, I wasn't originally on the board when the UCA was founded, but I remember the discussions, and I remember you guys talking about receiving messages from people that are, let's say, we're watching or listening to the Trinities podcast or listening to Restitutio, and they'd all of a sudden change their mind about who God was and that it wasn't a Trinity, and then they would email you or contact you and say, now what? And the UCA is to some degree an answer to that question, is now what? And we're 5 or 6 years in, and it's a good start. We got a long way to go.
Got a couple more questions in here. Here's one question for Dr. Tuggy. Out of curiosity, how many conversations have you had with well-known Trinitarians behind the scenes in which they admit to being challenged by BU interpretations?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I mean, first of all, I'm aware of some closeted Unitarians who are philosophy professors and other things, and they're not quite sure what to do with that. They probably don't know about churches in their area. But the debate book that I was in, let's see, over on this side, where I was arguing with 3 Trinitarians, That was started by a friend of mine who I knew when he was just an undergraduate at Calvin College in Michigan. And he had been following my work and finding it challenging. And he's still a Trinitarian of a unique sort. But the reason that book happened is because he thought, hey, we all need to engage with these arguments. So, yeah, they're not all inclined to admit being challenged. So some of them basically interpret the New Testament as implicitly Trinitarian, like they're Trinitarian, but they don't have the language for it somehow, or they're confused. But then other ones basically admit, no, you guys are right about the New Testament, but we've all since moved on and become much, I don't know, more sophisticated. We understand it all better now than these poor dopes in that time did, which I think is absurd, because the faith once delivered to the saints was taught by Jesus and the apostles and their circles. So yeah, I mean, some of them actually think that we're right about the New Testament, but then they think that it's okay if the New Testament authors are just really confused. And what I'm saying is what a lot of us are saying is, no, the New Testament teaching stands perfectly well on its own 2 feet. It doesn't need help from fancy philosophical distinctions. Or the developments of the 4th century. Like, it made sense to them. It can make sense to you if you're willing to take off the Trinitarian goggles and have a fresh look at everything.
I would add that the recent engagement that we have had from people like William Lane Craig and James White is a testimony to the fact that they are being challenged by these interpretations. 5 years ago, we would have been hard-pressed to have them agree to these kinds of things. And now, you've got William Lane Craig responding to shorts that Brandon Duke did on his podcast. That there's no explanation for that.
And it's not going well.
Yeah. It's because these points we're making are in fact challenging. And if they don't say something, I think they're just feeling the pressure.
That is such a huge point. I mean, can you believe that, Brandon? William Lane Craig quoted you.
My room temperature IQ and his like double that IQ. Yeah. And it came out badly for him because he's got an impossible position to defend. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's exciting.
Yeah. The mainstream would prefer to no platform our point of view and suggest that it's a crazy conspiracy theory and that no one needs to take it seriously. And thank God that's starting to change. That's why we're attacking that little scholarly minority in society. Like we're challenging them on their own turf. And so, yeah, it's making a difference. It's very encouraging.
Something I wanted to mention is that in our on our website, of course, we have this map, and this is the Australia, New Zealand region here, and we had our event last November in New Zealand, and you can see that New Zealand is looking pretty lit, and so is Eastern Australia. There's not really too many people in the middle here, but then over in the Southwest, there's some folks there too, and it's just so cool to see all these dots. Even in Asian countries, where if I move up a little bit, there's not too much English except for in the Philippines there. So I think, that's really our next big barrier as an organization, is breaking out from the English-speaking world and getting into these other languages, whether African, Asian, or European, South American, and so forth. Looking to the rest of the world that this truth is probably already there in many places, but what incredible support you feel when you know that there are others on the team, and that there are PhDs on the team, and that there are brick and mortar churches and some people might not know about how incredible the Christadelphians are and their ecclesias, or they might not know about the Christian Disciples Church and their incredible work they've done throughout Asia. And so there are all these different organizations, and I remember hearing Mark talk about this 6 years ago now, Mark, and it was at Converge, the first one, right? And he was just like, wow, this is incredible. Look at all these people. And I don't know where they came from or what's going on, but people are just coming to this. And so to be able to connect them to each other. And then the other really exciting thing, which we haven't had a chance to mention, is the launch of a new church as a direct result of the UCA event in New Zealand. We are planting a new church in Cambridge, New Zealand.
LHIM is. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Sorry, I should say we so I got sloppy with the we there. Not we, the UCA. The UCA has no churches. UCA just connects churches and denominations and other kinds of groups and individuals. The Living Hope International Ministries, which I also am an employee of, is planting this church. And so that was a direct result of this UCA event. And we're hopeful to see other churches galvanize, come together from lots of different groups as people find each other and they say, hey, let's do a church together. Or even before that, let's just get together and have Bible study once a week. So that's really some of the fruit we're looking for.
As soon as I got off the plane in New Zealand, the guy that gave me a ride home told me a tale of woe and suffering and persecution on the basis of his biblical Unitarian beliefs that he studied his way into. And that conference was so encouraging just in terms of the number of people that came out of the woodwork that didn't really know each other or only vaguely knew about each other, people that lived within a couple hours of each other. And so, I have to give credit, of course, to the organizers of that conference because they were incredibly hardworking. But that conference really did help to spark a church plant. And we're really, really happy about that. And you showed Australia. We're excited about that. There were a lot of Christadelphians there. And some of them are starting to get excited that, oh my goodness, other people are discovering this stuff that we've known all along. And, we could get some people into our ecclesias this way. And I don't know, there's something about Australians. They're kind of independent minded and don't necessarily just respect something because it's old and people tell them they're supposed to. And so I don't know, they're just
the criminals from England originally. I don't want to get in trouble here, but they might have a bit of a rebellion streak.
There's an independent streak in some of our UK people too, so I don't want to.
Western Americans and Southerners are a little bit the same way, just the enthusiasm on the part of the committee has been really heartening, and they're really hoping to get big numbers of Christadelphians and others out to these events. So we're very excited about that.
I do have another question. I think this might be directed at Mark. It reads, is there a possibility of the return of the UCA podcast missing puppeteering? So I don't know how you want to handle that, Mark.
Well, I really appreciate the puppeteering comment, and I would like to say that you should make it to Converge. There may be there. Yes, there is a possibility of the return of the UCA podcast. What's happened in the last year, major work on my house, disrupted my life. I've started a side business. I've had a lot of soul searching, and one of the issues with the UCA podcast is I felt like it was really useful, and it has an evergreen, can last forever. Like you can go back and listen to any episode, and it's just as the way it was when I originally released it. But one of the things that I didn't get the satisfaction of is knowing that something was started that will outlive me. And that's why we are starting up another one, and hopefully in the next few weeks we can get it released before our first conference in the UK, called Answers, Unitarian Christian Answers, which is a opportunity for us to ask a question of one of the many people who produce great content and who have maybe worked on that particular type of question. Hear their answer and then know where to learn more and get to know these people. So it's a way to connect people. It's a simpler, shorter, more focused type of podcast and YouTube videos. It's a chance to try something new and a chance for me to build something that is very simple and structured and straightforward so that I can hand it off to any young whippersnapper. Can I say that? Am I old enough to say whippersnapper? I don't know.
You're old enough.
I
Yeah.
think so.
You're good.
Thank you. I would love to see something that we start just completely outlive us and be going and helping and encouraging others. So that's the stuff that has been happening to me in the meantime.
Yes, and this is part of trying to draw in and platform and raise up and get new audience for the content creators out there.
Yeah.
So we want to draw as many of them into that project as possible.
Yeah.
Got another question here. How to find UK members? Somebody want to take a stab at that?
You could just
Mark?
go to the directory and choose. There's a drop-down menu. You can choose the UK as a country. And if you're logged on with your membership, you will be able then to send messages to churches or individuals that you might want to connect with.
Yeah, the way it works is it creates an email to that person. And if that person reads the email and wants to respond to it, then it just becomes an email conversation between you and them. Our website isn't a Facebook. You know,
It's not a social media platform.
No, you don't go in there and do all your conversing there. You just send the email out through the website, and then if the other person responds, then you guys are now connected. You can communicate that way. Another great way to meet UK members would be to go to the UK conference in just a few weeks, because you're going to get a lot of people from the UK. That is very convenient for them to be there. So I would suggest showing up and introducing yourself.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Yep. Yeah, it was some amazing people, the conference organizers and others. I can't say enough about them. You will not regret coming to that conference.
Yeah, and there's still time. Not much, but there's time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Sean,
There's
do
a
it
button around here somewhere that you can register. I
for
don't.
registration. Yeah, might be at the bottom.
Somewhere around here. Oh, book
Yeah,
now. There we go.
There we go.
Book now, yeah.
Of course, they use some weird British term for register. Book now. Sounds awesome, but it's
They have a different
not
word
my
for
term.
everything.
They
For
do.
goodness sake.
All right.
Well,
Well,
Speak
Sean, do we have any more questions, or maybe it's a good time to start
I'm
wrapping
sorry. No, I do have a question for you, Brandon. It is, when is the Duke versus Bowman debate happening?
I think whenever Dr. Bowman decides he has absolutely nothing else to do in his entire life. I don't anticipate that occurring. Thanks for the question. I think this is referring to a series of podcasts that Sean and I have been doing. Sean graciously invited me to come on to Restitutio and do a series of response episodes to a book by Bowman and Komashevsky on the deity of Christ. And so we're one more episode to go on that one. We're at 4 out of 5 or so of them.
We got
Maybe
4
one
of
more
them
after
out
that.
so far.
Yeah. So if anyone's interested in listening to lengthy, sorry for that, by the way, in advance, but long form content, responding to a very popular book on the deity of Christ, and it's critical of biblical Unitarians and Unitarians in general, like us. This is a resource you could go to and listen through. We try to cover the main arguments that they offer in the book, and hopefully it'll be a bit of an inoculation, so you're not surprised the next time a Trinitarian throws some off the wall proof text at you. So
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's high quality content, and listen with your Trinitarian friends, and then you'll have something to talk about.
We got one other quick question. We've already answered it, but we'll just take another stab at it. I may have missed it. Will the UCA have a table or workshop at Converge? Yes, 100% to the workshop. We're having a special session at Converge where we're going to do UCA content. I don't know about the table. Are we doing a table, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Mark said
Yeah.
it. So it's going to happen.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for everybody for the questions. Thanks for the time listening in on the live. Thanks for putting up with a host who's never done this before. Thanks to my fellow board members for all of that. Just one last reminder for folks. If you want to know more about the Unitarian Christian Alliance, go to the website, unitarianchristianalliance.org. You can donate there. You can find events there. You can sign up for a free membership where you can put yourself on the map and find other Unitarians. And you can also, it's a way to take a stand too. Whether you actually find somebody from being on the map or not, it's a way to have your voice be heard. And sometimes there's value in that alone. So we want to remind you, if you want to volunteer, you can reach out to us at media@unitarianchristianalliance.org via email, or you could join the Facebook group and say, hey, I've got an idea. We'd be happy to have it. So thank you everyone for watching. Together we believe we can spread the truth that we have one God, the Father, and one Lord, Jesus Christ. And look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.